When I was doing the Maze documentary, Enemies Within, and we had amazing access to the wings, both Republican and Loyalist, we would start early in the morning. We'd come in here, go through security and the endless searches and everything else, and then we'd go into the blocks and film in the blocks. And then we had to come out at lunchtime. The prisoners would have their lunch, which is usually, I think, about 12 o'clock. And then there was lock-up. In other words, lock-up was what it says it was. The cells were locked and the prisoners had to stay inside from whatever time it was, 1 o'clock until 3 o'clock, something like that. No doubt to make sure that they digested their lunches properly. And we had to come out of the prison, well, not out of the prison, but out of the blocks, and we used to have lunch in the governor's dining room, which is where the senior prison officers had lunch. These enormous lunches with gargantuan plates full of food. The noise and these wings was incredible, with people sort of shouting and barking orders and laughing and joking and singing, and the prisoners had radios. So it was a sort of cacophony, and the sound of the gates being opened and shut, and the sound of keys in locks, shouting at the prison officers.
It's about 8:30. It was about 8:30 when the screws went off. About 10 minutes after that, H5, H4 and H3, any news of any events or any beatings had to be called around the jail. Bobby was in 3, right? Now, the way of it was that H3 a fella at the bottom cell would literally shout it out the window, H5, right? And he'd have shouted, and his call would have been picked up at the other side of the fence, because everybody had to keep quiet from 8:30. You weren't allowed to talk. So he'd have picked up the call at the bottom cell here, the bottom of the H, and he'd have shouted back, I hear you. And he would have already collected all information or whatever, and it was shouted in Irish over to Bobby's wing here, right? And then they'd have collected, and then when they had it all, they would have given the 4, got. Then H5 boy would then have told the boy at the other arm of the block to make his call to H4. So they would have called to H4. And then H4 would have relayed their information to the guy on the far side of the wing on H5. And when he'd have gathered it, he'd have told it to the man here in this wing, and then he'd have shouted it over to there. So for about an hour between 8:30 and 9:30, no one spoke in the blocks, you just lay. And you could actually pick it up in the quiet of the night.
You'll notice if you take a look down there that there's a metal plate. Can you see the metal plate there? Now, these are the pipes. Do you see the metal plate? That metal plate in there that has been, that's welded or riveted into the wall. Now, the reason for that was that prior to the plate going up and while on the blanket and on punishment, the boys got plastic knives and dug out the cement round the pipes, and then they would send through notes and tobacco and messages to one another. And they used to, it was one of the great values that we got from the Bible, which every prisoner, God bless the British system, but every prisoner has to have a Bible, and they couldn't prevent us having a Bible. They don't have to feed you, but they have to give you a Bible. And we got the Bible, and you take a long strip off the Bible, and you'd flatten it out, and you'd put a sprinkling of tobacco. If we could get tobacco, we'd get a sprinkling of tobacco, roll it up, and push it through. Or you'd even push a light through on a wick. And how you made a wick was, we had any piece of cotton towel we could get, and you took the string out of the towel, and you unloosened it and made it into a wick. And then we used to use we would smuggle in a flint from a lighter and a small piece, the tube of a biro, the inside of the biro where the ink runs, piece of that, and put the wick or the flint into the top of that. Make a wee bit of cotton, set it down on the floor, and then get either a wheel from a lighter. You just took the wheel out of the lighter, you didn't get either the wheel or a piece of a razor blade, the tiniest wee piece of a razor blade, as long as you get a spark.
Get the spark.
Flick, flick, flick until that would light up. And once that lit up, then you put your wick into it and got the wick lit, and you had a wee spark. And I seen them coming right down from cell 2, right
The
to the
whole way
bottom, down the wing. And Ben would have been smoking just a sprinkling of tobacco.